Hello again, ladies. Summer has arrived, and with that, it means the children are underfoot all the time. And even though we homeschool, it often seems like because our schedules are so fixed during the school year, we homeschool up until lunch. We have lunch, we visit the park. After the park, we allow mommy to have time to do what she needs to do. So that often means the children are reading books or something, or playing with their games or outside with friends. And then we have our nighttime routine. So the days flow by quite gracefully. But, however, during summer, it can sometimes seem as though the children are always at each other, fighting or finding something to argue about, and they truly are just following me around like little ducklings all of the time. Which sometimes isn't bad, but it's great to have that separation, have me have myself, my time to myself, and the children have their time to themselves. So let's dive into what summer activities we can get into with the children this summer. My first tip, I feel, is quite obvious, but get them outside. If they're not in your home, obviously, they won't be able to be underfoot so much or in each other's faces confined so much. So encourage them to go outside and play, even if it's just in the backyard. If you have a garden, that's an incredible idea to allow them to maybe have their own garden. My son loves his garden. He loves to talk about his garden, show me all the time the different plants he has growing and the progress they've made. And with that, he's found lots of critters like little lizards and snails and things like that that he loves to place around his garden, even though the snails are probably not the best idea, but he does enjoy keeping his garden. And if you can't get your children outside, something that I've been considering, because not all of my children enjoy keeping a garden, I have considered putting a shed out back and painting it a pretty color and just making it look really cute, and having the children have their craft time out there, and just putting a small table out there and some shelves for their crafting supplies. Now, this is an idea that means I will have to put together some kind of building of sorts, and husband isn't home, so that might be an idea that I will have to hold off on for just a little while longer. This method is helpful if you don't want to constantly be cleaning up after their crafting messes and things like that as well. Now, if you have a spot in your home that maybe a guest room or something that you're not using, that you can keep their items tucked away, it will alleviate so much stress from your day and really allow the children to have fun in their own space. Another tip I have for you ladies is to carry learning into summer fun by turning the normal things that the children want to do anyway into something that is a teachable lesson for them. So for summertime, lemonade stands are also always a big hit with children in smaller neighborhoods. I know we did a bake sale one year, and it was such a big deal in our tiny community in Maryland. And my son, actually all my children, just loved it. My son loved that he could earn money from it, and he met so many people in the neighborhood. And it was just a really great experience for all of us. It really brought the community together, I feel. And it taught him about money, about commerce, about, not just counting money, but what does it mean when someone gives you change for something? That's not something a small child normally has to consider or think about. So that was such a great learning experience for him. Also, one of my sons really enjoys fixing bikes, and it's so interesting because one of my sons couldn't understand it at all, but My other son, he'll flip the bike right upside down on its handlebars, and he goes right to work with tools that his daddy taught him how to use, and he just gets right to business fixing his brother's bike, his own bike, his sister's bikes. It doesn't faze him at all. It's just a normal thing for him. So encourage that, encourage him to, or your child, he or she, to really lean into that and fix things. Maybe it's not just the bike, but maybe he could tinker with something else that's broken. It's such a great learning experience, and they're already doing it anyway, because if your children are like mine, they love being on their bicycles during summer, of course. So really lean into that. My boys also really enjoy mowing our yard, which is crazy, I think, because I think I've mowed a yard like one time maybe in my entire life. So I normally just have my husband do it, but while he's away, my boys do it and they are so excited. We have an electric mower and a fuel powered motor, and there's one boy on each one, and they just have a good old time in the backyard mowing the yard. And they take this time to find critters, mostly crickets, and they're so excited when they find snails, and they're just really happy, I think, to feel like they're helping out with the household while their daddy is away. So that's another great idea, because again, yard has to be mowed. The children are probably already outside anyway, and it's relatively easy to teach them how to, use a lawnmower. And my boys are 9 and 7, so they can start pretty young doing it. Another tip for you ladies is to encourage your little one to start a new book series. There are actually a lot of great Christian book series out now, and we are currently reading The Wingfeather Saga by Andrew Peterson. It is so intense. It's really good, but it is a little too intense for our little girls. They're my younger children, aged 6 and 4. So consider that when looking into the series. But my boys, they really enjoy it, and they get really into it with the maps and the names of the places and trying to figure out what the biblical concepts are within the storyline. And we got the entire series, so it's 4 books long, so it will definitely take us into August, because book 4 is I believe it's book 4, it's quite long. So yes, that's an exciting one if you are looking into that. And if your children are like my 2 younger girls, not quite there yet with the intensity of the Wingfeather Saga or similar stories to it, there's quite a few out there. But if they're not quite there yet, my daughters really love farm stories. Right now we're reading one from Usborne Books. It's pretty generic and it's very simple. It goes through chapters, but they're very simple chapters and really sweet concepts for the children. But again, educational. I love bringing education into everything, because we homeschool. It just makes sense to apply something educational to everything that we do. They also really enjoy the American Girl doll series, and they have the dolls, so that's fun for them as well. And the material is educational, and I love the one from Samantha. That's what we're doing right now, and it's pretty fun to try to explain, the different items that they wear. I love in wintertime, the muffs that they have on their hands, and my daughter loves the bonnets with the poof on top. Yes, it's so much fun for all three of us ladies, and we really get into it and figuring out why is this person connected to this person? Oh, that's just her aunt or her caretaker, or all these different characters within the story, and hearing the girls explain. One of my daughters goes, "Oh no, that's not her, that's her." So it's a lot of fun to explain the different characters and hear them repeat the storyline back. And another obvious tip, but get them away from the TV. With the TV, the more, I know with my own children, the more that they watch, the more angry and erratic they become when you turn it off, or when you deny them the TV. the next time they want the opportunity to watch it. So our TV is really just a glorified like movie night TV, and I'll use it for on YouTube. They have playlists that have these wonderful scenery backdrops, and I'll play that a lot, and the fireplace during winter time. And it's also great for listening to radio programming through the DVD player, or rather the Xbox. We don't play games on the Xbox, we use it as a DVD player. I'll put it that way. So our children really have gotten into Gilead Lane, that's one of my favorites, and Adventures in Odyssey, which, you know, is sort of the same idea. They really like following along with Adventures in Odyssey because there are so many different characters. There's different storylines going on. So that's a real fun one for them. And it's Christian based, which is wonderful because we love it for that. And you can really access it from a lot of different avenues. They've got the website, the app, and of course the DVDs. I cannot explain well enough just how serene and calm the house is when the children are off doing a quiet activity and listening to one of their radio shows. It is one of the sweetest times of being a mom, when they can just listen to some wholesome radio and color and draw, and maybe they're helping me make bread or something, but it's just such a sweet time in our day when they're all calm in general. But for some reason, them listening to radio programming really just touches my heart in a different way. I don't know if it's because it's just so old America or what, but it's just such a sweet time, and I definitely encourage you all to at least give radio programming a try. I remember as a really young girl listening to the radio quite a bit, and then it was kind of, usurped by the VHS, and then we were probably the last people in the world to get a DVD player. But it definitely has come back full force in our house, and I definitely encourage everyone to definitely give it a try. It really is. It's just such a sweet moment. They're just hanging out, reading Answers Kids magazines and listening to the radio. Just how sweet is that? It's just, give it a try. Give it a try. And of course, one cannot forget basic board games and card games. Puzzles and things like that are a great way to get the kids learning new things. We really like Scrabble or things like Uno, anything like that that gets the kids thinking cognitively. Okay, this number comes before this number comes after that. Oh, this is a new word I can spell, with things like Scrabble, or even counting quickly. On a game like Sorry, for instance, you're counting up and you're counting back, and you're adding quickly and subtracting quickly. It is the games like that are so great for that, and they're easily accessible, and they can play with you or without you for a lot of these games, especially Memory and Uno. Those are great ones for without parents. If you needed to step away for a little bit, they could take control of the game themselves. And another way to get the children interested in these games is to find them in their themed versions. So for instance, my son really likes anything Harry Potter or Chronicles of Narnia. So put Chronicles of Narnia on an Uno game, or I think he has Harry Potter Uno, and all of a sudden it becomes even more interesting and even more engaging. So I encourage you to try that as well. STEAM and STEM projects are so much fun. Our children got a chance to do several different terrarium projects, and they loved them. One included crystals, so you grow crystals overnight and you put them in a little underwater world for the Little Mermaid inside. There's another version of it as an egg, and you can grow little chia seeds inside. Think of the 90s made for TV plant chia. It's the same thing essentially, only way cuter. And my boys chose the camp theme and my daughters chose the mermaid underwater theme. They really enjoyed that. Some other ones we found were the glow-in-the-dark rock painting, knitting, airplane making, you know, just paper airplanes, and there are so many more. One that I'm really excited to do, I just got the kit for, is the resin fidget toys. It's like a keychain. I am so thrilled to try that out because I've been really curious as to how these wonderful Instagrammers are making these beautiful designs with flowers and resin. So I guess I'm just gonna have to practice with this. I don't think that I'm gonna get deep dive into it too much, but it looks like a lot of fun, especially to do it with the children. They're so excited about all of them. Don't make the same mistake I did, however, and allow them to open up the box. You know, actually, in my defense, they ran to the door when the package came and just tore open the boxes and were so excited. They were like, Mom, everything came. And immediately they just wanted to do all the projects. So what turned into 2 months worth of summertime fun projects turned really into 1 month of summertime fun projects because they wanted to do all the terrarium projects basically at once. So now we just have a few of them left, but that's fine. They've been quite distracted because we just hatched, well, we didn't hatch it, but a duck egg was just hatched, and it's been so much fun watching it. My husband was able to be on the phone on video chat while it was happening. So it was as if he were here with us enjoying this first for us, hatching a little duckling. So that's actually another tip for you. What we do in our home is each spring we decide on a biology project. And, you know, one year we did caterpillars into butterflies. I believe we did tadpoles one year. Last year our dog had puppies, and this year we did ducks. So 2 ducks are, well, 1 duck just hatched and 1 is currently pipping out of its shell at the moment. So we are having so much fun with that, and it really just brings in so many educational elements into your home, even though, you know, it's not the school year. You know, homeschooling for us, it's all year round, all day long kind of thing. And it's just so much fun. It really is. And even when, you know, we started out with 6 ducks and only 2 made it. But with those ducks that didn't make it, we were able to crack open those eggs and look at the eggs during different stages of gestation, and that was really educational. The children, I've never seen that before, so it was really special to be able to share that with the children, and also talking about life and bringing, you know, biblical concepts into it. You know, Genesis, he made them, Genesis says that he made everything seed bearing. You know, it will create its own, you know, wait, every seed bearing plant, I'm being tested here. Every seed bearing plant creates its own version of itself. And, you know, a duck isn't going to give birth to a chicken, and a human isn't going to give birth to a hippopotamus or something like that. And we talked a lot about that given the state of our world. And it was just so educational for them. And I really hope they gleaned a lot from it. And I think they did. If you're like me and you're trying to get a lot of work done over summer, you know, the children aren't in school, but how do you work that out? How do you get work done when the children are around all the time? And I have to say that sometimes you just simply won't. And let that be okay. You know, God's taking care of you. Have no worries about tomorrow. You can only handle as much as you can in your day to day, in the present. And I encourage you, ladies, to really consider that on a very real level. Your children, really, they need you, especially the younger ones who are around the most, who really are trying to learn from you from an everyday, all day kind of perspective. And when they want to show you something they created or get your opinion on something, or in my case, I have one child who just loves to talk about anything and about everything, and he's really just looking for that connection. It's his love language, to be heard, to be listened to spend time with him in that way. So I just encourage you all not to make working on your own personal projects at the forefront. Our children are not a distraction from our projects. Our projects are a distraction from our children and our roles as mothers. So with that, I will give you my last tip. Encourage boredom. Now, with that, I mean to encourage them to go out and think for themselves. Think about how they can entertain themselves. Think about how they can create themselves. And I feel like for our day, what works is to have just a few things scheduled for the day. So that might look like, okay, in the morning, help mommy make some waffles, and we're in the kitchen and we're making waffles together. And in the afternoon, let's go to the park and let's play. Maybe we meet other children at the park and they're entertained in that way. And in the evening, we have our story time. Sometimes before that, we'll watch a Christian programming or something like that, or we'll read a magazine, but we make a point to have story time every night unless there's something big preventing us from doing that. And really, I feel like children just need a few things each day that kind of mark the different times of their day to allow a rhythm throughout the day. But aside from that, it's really healthy, I think, to allow them to go off on their own, to allow their imagination to work, to play out different things. Oh, if I put this critter here and this critter here, what'll happen? You know, my son and actually all my children have critter boxes, and I'll say, okay, go off, go do what you want to do for a little while, and they'll come back 20 minutes later with critters in their boxes and plants in their boxes, which I never told them to do, but they realize that, oh, if I found this critter in this plant, that must mean that the critter likes this plant, so I'm going to put this plant inside of my critter box with my critter. And my son realized, hey, I need to feed this lizard. What am I going to feed it? And he comes to me and he says, Mom, what do lizards eat? And I said, son, I have no idea. So what we did together was look online. What do lizards eat? They like moths, they like insects, things like that, crickets. So he found a cricket. Sure enough, he puts it in there. The lizard gets it right then, and he really sees that happening, and he was so surprised because he'd never seen it before, and he was really excited that he could feed his lizard, his new pet lizard that's now, outside roaming around again because he couldn't keep it for too long. I didn't want it to get hurt. But those things like that, you can't plan necessarily for that unless you plan an outdoor day, right? But you can't plan the questions he asks. You can't plan how his mind is moving and developing and understanding the world around him. The brains of adults and children are so different. Children really see things that adults can't see. They see the smallest things because they're just discovering the world and how the world moves and why this works this way, and oh, if I put this together, does it fit with this? And their minds are just so beautiful and constantly developing. and constantly learning new things. So I think it's really, really important, especially between the ages of 0 and 7. And, it's definitely still important even after that, but particularly in those first 7 years when your child's brain is moving at the speed of light, really just soaking up all the information that it possibly can. When you allow that child space and time away from you, within a safe amount of distance, but give them space to learn and develop their brain without constantly being fed what to do and constantly being fed what to learn. We are currently in a season of life where we're participating in organized sports, and it's not always the case, but right now we are finding it very helpful and really just a huge blessing, because it's honestly providing a distraction for all of us and getting us out of the house and our minds off of my husband's absence. He is currently deployed for quite a while, so we're really feeling blessed to be able to connect with new people that we wouldn't otherwise talk to, because they're not maybe a part of the homeschool community, and because we are so new to SoCal, we just don't know lots of people. So it is providing such an outlet for the children to really, get exercise, learn new people, and again, provide that distraction for us. And we will do different organized sports through August, I believe, or or rather early autumn, late summer, because then we'll stop and it'll provide us time to go and travel and maybe visit family out in Michigan, and really just have that time where we don't feel like we're obligated to be someplace at a certain time. I know a lot of homeschoolers are sort of in the camp that organized sports aren't exactly in their wheelhouse, in their regular plans, but I encourage everyone to try it. It's a great way to meet new children and to get your kids socializing with a new group of children, and really realize that not everyone has the same beliefs as they have, and you can really curate that to your comfort level. So I really appreciate that about being a homeschool mom. You can really incorporate different aspects of the world when appropriate. So that way your children know that it's not necessarily normal to be a Christian, be homeschooled, and things like that. Please let me know in the comments, ladies, what your summertime activity plans are with your children, and let me know if you homeschool and how you find that affects your summer day to day. I truly hope those tips provide some help for you this season when being around your children so much. And I hope that this summer season proves to be joyful and convicting for you. Thank you so much for joining me again, ladies. I will see you next time. Ciao.